do a little review. Let's take a look. So these are the ventricles, right? We said that arteries through the blood-brain barrier take it into the choroid plexus, which makes it CSF. CSF washes throughout the lateral ventricles through the interventricular foramen into the third ventricle, right? Through the cerebral aqueduct, through the fourth ventricle, out the lateral of Luschka and the median of Magendie. Finally, it washes around. You can't quite see it, but it washes around in the subarachnoid space, travels into the granular arachnoid granules or arachnoid villi, back into the sinuses of the subdural space, and then blah, blah, blah. So when we see it again, I'll try and review it with you guys. Here's some questions to review that you guys should be looking at. This is actually from the study guide. So I had one student give a great suggestion, and I think that at least for these videos, I'm not going to go back and do all the others, at least for these videos, you guys can take a look. So nervous can be really intense, but these are the primary vesicles, right? So we said, essentially, what you guys should be doing is taking that information and going back over this. This was primary, what was secondary, and what were the final adult structures. Let me swoosh back to some of that, and then let's see if we can find it really quick so you guys can look at it. Here is the image that I'm talking about. So I'll pause for a second. You guys can always pause it and then look at this. So these are the primary, these are the secondary. This is the final. This is what I call the adult structures. And then finally, what ventricles are associated with what level. So that's your review. All right, let's move on. So we said this here, all of this relates back to that image that we had that you can rewind to. What are the ventricles of the brain? We just went over that. And then which ones are lateral? What about third? What about fourth? What's the pathway? So we just went over that right now. You guys can review that. Draw the diagram. Where is CSF made? And we said it was in the choroid plexus. And then what barrier does arterial blood supply have to cross? It's the blood-brain barrier. What cells make up the barrier? This is a review from way back when. So these were star-like cells, astrocytes. What are some of the functions of the blood-brain barrier? To protect. So they're basically to protect your brain. The things that can cross are lipid-soluble or fat-soluble. So any drug that can cross into the brain has to cross this barrier. That means that any drug that crosses the brain can cross the placenta to affect the baby. The pathway, does it travel? Draw on the board. So we just did that, right? And then we said what cells line the ventricles. This goes back as well. And it's the ependymal. Very good. So ependymal cells. Where does CSF exit? And we said it exits through the arachnoid villi, otherwise known as arachnoid granulations. Finally enters into the veins, right, which are the sinuses in the subdural space.